Deep inside you, there exists a version of yourself that you haven't met yet. A version that is more confident, more disciplined, more successful, and more alive than the person you are today. That future self is not some mystical figure waiting in the distant years. It's trapped inside you, beating against the walls of your comfort zone, begging to be released. Think about it, every choice you've ever made has led you here, but the choices you make from this moment forward will determine whether that future self dies as a dream or emerges as reality. Most people live their lives in chains they can't see. Chains of self-doubt, procrastination, fear, and old habits. But the truth is, the future version of you is screaming, "Let me out!" And until you answer that call, you'll always feel like something is missing, even if everything looks fine on the surface. The greatest prison in the world is not made of stone, iron, or steel. It's made of comfort. Your future self is trapped inside the routines you've repeated so often that they've become invisible walls. Every time you choose the easy path, the future you that wants greatness is forced back into its cage. Imagine the gap between who you are and who you could be as a locked door. The key is uncomfortable action. It's saying no when your impulses say yes. It's doing the hard thing when no one is watching. It's waking up early to create instead of scrolling through endless noise. Comfort feels good in the moment, but it starves your future self. If you want to set that self free, you must be willing to make discomfort your ally. That's how you dig your way out of the invisible prison. Here's the harsh truth: every day that passes without unlocking your potential is a day stolen from your future self. You may think you have time, but time is a ruthless thief. It doesn't wait for you to feel ready. It doesn't pause until you're motivated. It keeps ticking. Years can vanish while you tell yourself the same story. Tomorrow, I'll start. Tomorrow, I'll change. Tomorrow, I'll take the risk. But tomorrow is a mirage. It always stays just out of reach. Your future self doesn't want promises, it wants action. Imagine looking back 10 years from now and realizing you had the key in your hand the whole time, but chose not to use it. That regret is the heaviest chain you can ever wear. Stand in front of a mirror right now. Look into your own eyes and ask yourself, am I betraying the person I could become? That question cuts deeper than any criticism from the outside world, because you already know the answer. Inside you is a vision of what you're capable of. Stronger, wealthier, healthier, kinder, bolder. But every time you choose distraction over discipline, you betray that vision. Every time you let fear dictate your decisions, you betray that vision. Every time you settle for less than your worth, you betray that vision. The mirror test doesn't lie, and your future self is watching. The real question is, will you make decisions today that your future self will thank you for, or will you keep betraying the best version of who you are? Fear is the warden that keeps your future self locked away. It whispers, what if you fail? What if they laugh? What if it doesn't work? And so, you stay safe. But here's the paradox: the walls built by fear are only illusions. They disappear the moment you walk through them. Every great success story you admire came from someone who felt fear, but acted anyway. Your future self is already free on the other side of that fear. It's just waiting for you to cross the line. You don't overcome fear by waiting for courage. You overcome it by stepping forward while your hands are still shaking. Fear loses its power when you stop obeying it. That's the moment the prison doors start to crack open and your future self begins to step into the light. The most dangerous word in the English language is someday. Someday I'll start my business. Someday I'll chase my dream. Someday I'll change my habits. But here's the ugly truth: someday is not a day on the calendar. It's an illusion you use to comfort yourself when you're avoiding responsibility. Someday is how you justify staying the same while convincing yourself you'll change in the future. But that future never comes. Your future self is screaming for you to kill that word and replace it with today. Because if not now, when? If not you, who? The only way to escape the trap of someday is to take action in this moment. However small, however messy, waiting for the perfect time is the greatest lie you'll ever believe, because perfection is a mask that hides procrastination. Here's something you need to understand. Setting your future self free doesn't happen with one giant leap. It happens through small, consistent shifts that compound into transformation. A single step toward discipline is worth more than 1,000 intentions. One page read, one workout completed, $1 saved. These are the bricks that build the bridge to your future. Most people overestimate what they can achieve in a week, but underestimate what they can achieve in a year of steady progress. Your future self isn't asking you to be flawless. It's asking you to be faithful. To show up again and again, even when it's hard. Tiny habits are like seeds. They don't look like much in the moment, but give them time, and they'll grow into forests that change everything. The real chains are broken not by intensity, but by consistency. Excuses are the chains you forge for yourself. Every time you say, "I'm too tired, too busy, too old, too young, too late, too broke," you add another link to the chain that keeps your future self locked away. But here's the raw truth: excuses are lies dressed up as reasons. They make you feel safe while stealing your future. Every person who ever became great had excuses. They just chose not to use them. Think about it: someone with less talent, fewer resources, and more obstacles than you has already done what you're dreaming of. What's the difference? They didn't negotiate with their excuses. They broke them. The moment you stop giving yourself permission to stay small, the prison doors swing open, and your future self steps closer to freedom. Real transformation doesn't happen when you try harder. It happens when you shift your identity. You're not someone who tries to be disciplined. You are disciplined. You're not someone who wants to be successful. You are successful in the making. When you change the way you see yourself, your actions naturally align with that vision. Your future self is already living inside you. It's an identity waiting to be claimed. The reason most people stay trapped is because they cling to an old story about who they are. I've always been lazy. I've always been broke. I've always failed. But your past does not define your future unless you keep telling the same story. Break the story, break the chains. Start telling yourself a new narrative. I am becoming the person my future self will be proud of. And then act like it. Here's something people rarely talk about. Change is painful, yes, but staying the same is far more painful in the long run. Think about the discomfort of pushing yourself, the sweat, the discipline, the rejection. Now compare it to the crushing weight of regret, the gnawing voice of, "What if?" The realization that you wasted years in mediocrity. Pain is unavoidable. You just get to choose which type you'll live with. The pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of regret lasts a lifetime. Your future self is begging you to embrace short-term pain so you can escape long-term suffering. When you start to see pain not as punishment, but as proof that you're breaking chains, you'll welcome it, because that pain is the sound of your future self finally being set free. One of the deepest prisons is comparison. You scroll through social media, comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel, and you convince yourself you're behind. But here's the truth. Your future self doesn't care about someone else's timeline. Your path is your own. Every minute you waste comparing is a minute stolen from building the life you could live. Your future self is not waiting for you to be as good as them. It's waiting for you to be better than who you were yesterday. When you break free from comparison, you unlock focus, and focus is the fuel that sets your potential on fire. The only competition that matters is the one between your current self and the person you're capable of becoming. That's the only scoreboard worth keeping. Doubt is the whisper that says, "You're not enough." But here's the reality: doubt only has the power you give it. Every great achiever you admire felt doubt. The difference: they didn't let it decide their actions. Imagine if your future self could send you a message right now. It would say, "You are more ready than you think. Stop waiting. Stop second guessing. Move." Doubt is like fog. It clouds your vision, but disappears the moment you take a step forward. Confidence is not the absence of doubt. It's the decision to act in spite of it. When you stop treating doubt as a warning and start treating it as a signal that growth is near, you'll realize it was never a prison. It was a test. Pass the test, and your future self walks free. Your future self is not built by accident. It's built by vision and discipline. Vision gives you direction. Discipline builds the road. Without vision, you wander. Without discipline, you stumble. But when you combine them, you unlock unstoppable momentum. Your future self already exists in your imagination. It's that mental picture of the life you know you're capable of. But imagination alone is not enough. You must translate vision into daily action. Write it down, visualize it, speak it into existence, and then back it up with relentless discipline. Every time you choose vision over distraction, you carve a path toward your future. Every time you practice discipline, you strengthen the chains that once held you and turn them into stepping stones. Discipline is not restriction, it's freedom in disguise. Most people think the world outside holds them back. But the real enemies are inside: laziness, fear, excuses, doubt, and procrastination. Your future self is trapped not by the economy, not by politics, not by what people say, but by your own inner resistance. The war is internal, and the greatest victory you will ever achieve is the one where you conquer yourself. If you can defeat the voice that says, "Not today," you win. If you can silence the inner critic that says you can't, you win. If you can break the habit that says, "Just one more scroll, just one more day," you win. The moment you win the war within, the chains fall, the doors open, and the version of you that was buried under excuses finally rises. The hardest step you'll ever take is the first one. Starting feels terrifying because it means leaving the safety of the familiar. But your future self cannot be unlocked without courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's moving forward while fear screams in your ear. You don't need to know the whole path. You just need to take the first step. Starting small doesn't mean thinking small. It means honoring the truth that progress begins in motion, not perfection. Your future self is waiting for you to stop overthinking and start doing. That idea you've been holding back, that change you've been postponing, that risk you've been avoiding, begin it now. The door of your future is unlocked the moment you start walking toward it. Your future self is shaped not only by your choices, but by your environment. Look around you. Are the people, places, and habits around you pulling your future self out, or holding it back? Environment is like soil. Even the best seed cannot grow in toxic ground. If you surround yourself with negativity, distraction, and people who don't believe in growth, you're burying your future self alive. But when you place yourself in an environment of growth, books, mentors, communities, habits that fuel you, your future self begins to thrive. Change your environment and you change your destiny. Your cage is not just within you, sometimes it's around you. Break it and your future self will breathe for the first time. Your pain is not punishment, it's preparation. Every struggle, every setback, every heartbreak has been shaping you into the person your future self needs you to be. Pain is the fire that burns away weakness, fear, and doubt. But most people run from it, not realizing that it's the very thing that unlocks their strength. Your future self is not born from comfort. It's forged in adversity. When you stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What is this making me?" you begin to see pain differently. You realize it's a gift, not a curse. Your future self has been waiting for you to embrace the lessons hidden in your struggles. Because once you do, pain becomes power and chains become wings. Your future self is not just about you. It's about the impact you leave behind. When you unlock your potential, you don't just set yourself free, you inspire others to do the same. Your family, your friends, your children, even strangers who watch your journey. Your growth gives them permission to grow too. Think about it. What if your decision to break free today creates a ripple that changes generations? That's the power of legacy. Your future self is begging you to live not just for your comfort, but for your contribution. What you build, who you become, and the freedom you create can outlast you. The chains you break today may be the chains your children never have to wear. The most dangerous mistake is thinking you have time. The truth is, none of us know how much time we have left. Every moment wasted is a piece of your future self that dies inside you. That's why urgency matters. Not panic, not rushing blindly, but a deep awareness that life is short and your future cannot wait forever. Your future self is not infinite, it's fragile. It can only survive if you act today. There's no perfect moment. There's only now. Right now is the only time you can take the first step, break the first chain, and set your future self free. Every second you delay is a second lost forever, and your future self deserves better than that. So here it is, the moment of truth. Your future self has been locked inside you, screaming, waiting, begging to be released. You've heard its voice in your dreams, in your regrets, in the quiet moments when you know you were meant for more. The key is in your hand. No one else can use it. Not your family, not your friends, not your mentors. Only you. And the question is simple: will you unlock the door, or will you let your future self die as a prisoner of your excuses? Freedom is a choice. Greatness is a choice. Legacy is a choice. Today, right now, you have the power to set your future self free. Do it for yourself, for the life you were meant to live, and for the world that needs the version of you that's been waiting to emerge.